Nice, dig in, dig in. Push it, push it. I'm pulling you down. Right resistance.
And just get a good squeeze in the back, keep it under control, all that good stuff.
Nice.
Up on the bench press. So the number one thing that most people mess up is not getting shoulders tight when they're setting up on the bench. So you'll see when they're laying down, you know, and I mentioned this the last week, we're pushing up on the shoulders. We're not really thinking about our position. We want to have those shoulders pulled back in the pocket, tight, and that upper back squeezed real hard, okay? So when I bring that bar, those shoulders stay back, and on my lockout, those shoulders stay back. Basically what it comes down to is if you're not cramping up in your back on a bench set, you're not tight enough, and you're leaving weight on the bar, and you're gonna set yourself up for, you know, shoulder discomfort if you've got any issues there, okay? So number one is squeeze back those shoulders. So I'll take my grip, I'll kind of pull up a little bit, and I'll wedge those shoulders in real tight, so now they're not gonna move, all right? Then I'll bridge up, or lift my hips up, set my butt down on the bench with a nice tight arch, and then plant my feet on the floor. Now I'm ready to bench, okay? Then I'll take the bar out, bring it over that groove, so it comes down in a straight line and comes straight up, all right? And those elbows are just tucked in ever so slightly. So instead of being out here like at 90, one elbow's like 45.
And why are we doing that?
Just better leverage. I know gross anatomy, but I don't know every single little muscle, all right? But just little things like, you know, slight changing of hand positions, grips, you'll feel slight shifts on the musculature when you change angles, you know. So I don't know every single muscle, but I know you got to hit every single angle just to get well-rounded.
Nice. And they're doing this in between every set of bench?
Yes. Press truly is a full body movement if you're doing it correctly. But what I'd like to see is, instead of throwing the hips up, is keeping that butt on the bench and using that leg drive to push his traps into the bench and push himself away from the bar versus kind of trying to throw his hips up and do it that way.
Come on now, come on.
And then back to it. All right. Let's go. Try to get at least 2 more of that full.
Nice.
So you can see we're doing rows with a fat bar right now. Big difference with the fat bar is just like its name applies, it's got a 2-inch diameter, which is quite a bit bigger than the normal bar. What that does is it puts a lot of extra stress on the forearms and the grip. You've got to squeeze that thing a lot harder just to keep it in your hands. This is one of these things that is used in strongman competition, and it dates way back to you know, golden age of strength training bodybuilding. When they first started making barbells, a lot of times it wasn't mass manufactured like the ones we get now, where it's like perfectly balanced, the collars spin and stuff like that. In order to make a bar sturdy enough to hold on to the weight, they had to make the bars thicker. So this was like a typical barbell you might see 100 years ago in gyms, you know, around the turn of the century. And the axle comes from, you know, they used to, instead of having plates loaded up on there, it used to be a fat bar with wheels on the end. And that's why you'll see that in like strongman competitions now, where you'll have a big thick bar like that loaded up with like truck tires or something like that, or even like old looking wagon things. So that's where that all kind of comes from. Now, practical uses today, besides besides, you know, your classic like cleans, rows, stuff like that, deadlifts, you know, you can use it for any barbell movement, curls, pressing, whatever. You know, pressing and benching with a fat bar actually can be a lot easier on the elbows and shoulders. Just that thicker grip and that extra squeeze you have to get can take some of the stress off the joints. So it's just a nice, different look, different feel. Just a simple way to spice things up using your basic movements. It's too big to like hook onto your fingers. So with this, you want to come like kind of claw it this way. So like your thumb was, like you're trying to do a hook grip, your thumb was running parallel to the bar, it wasn't squeezing. So when you take it, you come down, try to press your palm into it, and really get your fingers on it, all right? So instead of being, you know, you were kind of like that. Your thumb was only halfway on there. It wasn't wrapped around. Hold in, press that palm real flat, and then get, you know, you want to get those pads of your fingers pressed and squeezed on that bar, and then you got it. Your grip is kind of locked in there.